Previously, I reviewed a set of Final Cut plugins that added Lightroom style slider effects that are available directly within the Final Cut Pro interface. And there's now a new offering from the same developer that increases color correction functionality, and it's on steroids. In fact, there are now over 30 plugins on offer, including re-nameable adjustment layers, and I'll tell you about those at the end of this video. And some of the plugins are free, like exposure control, and amazingly, the indispensable channel mixer, which is also free. This video will give you some quick explanations of the main color correction plugins, and that will be especially of interest to photographers who use Lightroom. However, any video editor will excel with the ease of use of these slider adjustments compared to Final Cut Pro's color wheels and curves. And a spoiler alert, you will want these plugins when you see how easy they are to adjust color in Final Cut. My name's Bruce, and if we've met before, welcome back. Otherwise, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell. And the first thing to note is that these plugins can be downloaded separately or in discounted bundles. Some of the individual plugins are free and others are priced from €5, and the professional suite of all plugins is currently at an introduction price of €75, down from the normally €183. Some of the plugins of the professional suite were reviewed in my previous video, so I won't cover them here, but you can access that video by clicking the eye above. I'll be discussing some of the plugins in this video, and if you look in the description below, you'll be able to access them directly with the timestamps. And these are the different plugins. Number 1, to adjust the luminance, that's the black and white. And you can do it differently on individual hues. I've added the effect to this image with different tree colours. If I adjust the greens within the image, you'll see the contrast change for just the green trees. If I move the red slider, you'll see the colour change in the red roofs. And number 2, camera calibration. And as a simple explanation, camera calibration is how a camera interprets the RGB in every pixel of an image. And different camera manufacturers do it differently. So this plugin lets you set how those primary RGB colours are handled by your camera. So to be clear, you're not adjusting the mix of the colours, you're changing the ingredients of the colours being presented to you. For a full tutorial on the camera calibration, click the eye above. And number 3, channel blur. This will allow you to add blurs to any one of the RGB hues. Let's use this image of the color wheels and add a full blur to the green. You'll see that the red and the orange are still quite sharp, though the white and the blue are now partly blurred. And as with any color correction, there's always an overlap, so you need to balance how much you add. And number 4, channel mixer. The principle here is that you can adjust the amount of 2 of the RGB hues while retaining the third. For example, you can adjust the blue and the green in an image while retaining the red. I'll use the green range as an example. If I add red, you'll see that the green remains green while the red is added to the rest of the image. If I remove the red's moved to yellow while the green stays mostly green. Now let's remove the red from the image completely. I'll remove all the red from the greens as well as from the blue. Now the red's completely white. As you can see, this tool allows for a dramatic change of any of the RGB range while protecting any one of the colours. And amazingly, this is the free effect. Number 5, colour balance. This allows you to change the range of colours between different colour groups, for instance yellow versus blue. You've got the option to adjust in the highlights, the mids and the shadows. And number 6 is contrast. And this allows you to adjust the contrast for the highlights and the shadows separately and also globally. And this is similar to what you do with the color wheels in Final Cut Pro, but the use of sliders will be more intuitive to those users of Lightroom. Number 7, exposure. And this is much the same as contrast, and it's a single slider that, surprise, surprise, adjusts the exposure of the image. And it's just an alternative slider control as opposed to the color wheels in Final Cut Pro. Number 8, presence. And this covers texture, clarity and dehaze, and that's now available in Final Cut Pro with simple sliders. Number 9, sharpening. This tool allows sharpening to be added while controlling the amount of the masking effect. I'll add to this shot. It's a soft city focus highly zoomed, and with this tool I can sharpen and control the cartoon look of over sharpening. Number 10, upright. And finally, a really helpful tool for rotating and straightening an image, while ensuring that the edges are not left uncovered. I'll rotate the city image to ensure that the horizon's level and the buildings are not on a tilt, but unseen are the uncovered edges. Select the warning checkbox and bingo, now you can see the red background where the edges were exposed. So those are just 10 of the 30 plus effects in the Professional Suite. And if that hasn't overwhelmed you, the developer adds another level, a pun included, with the concept of separate adjustment layers. And this is where individual effects are added to the separate layers that in turn affect the video below those layers. Let me explain. As you most likely know, adjustment layers affect all of the clips below them. What is suggested here is a concept of using multiple adjustment layers, each with a separate effect in them, so that the layers can be turned on and off as required, so you can see how the effect is on the clips below. But up to now this approach has been clunky, as the different adjustment layers all look the same and are liable to get confused. And the plugins in the Professional Suite include an adjustment layer that can be named for the effect that it contains. And incidentally, this plugin can be downloaded for free individually. I've added 3 adjustment layers and named them Channel Blur, Black and White, and Exposure. Each adjustment layer can be turned on and off by selecting the V key. If you decide to use this method with adjustment layers, you could create separate video rolls of different colors to help differentiate them even further. I've previously created the video rolls for the 4 adjustment layers you can see here. I'll assign the previously created roll to the exposure adjustment layer. Right-click on the exposure layer and select the video roll of exposure. It's now turned orange. And here's how that video roll was created. From the Modify menu, select Assign Video Rolls. Select Edit. Click the plus to add a video roll. Call it Channel Mixer. I'll adjust the color by clicking on the color wheel to differentiate it. To use that roll, I'll add an adjustment layer for Channel Mixer by duplicating the empty adjustment layer and add the Channel Mixer effect. Hold the Option key and drag the empty layer to the top. Change the name in the inspector to Channel Mixer. Assign the Channel Mixer role. And that's it. Different color, new role. As I mentioned earlier in the tutorial, the plugins are available separately or as bundles with the Professional Suite containing all of the effects. And I can say there's no easier way of adjusting color in Final Cut Pro, but if you do nothing else, you must download the free color mixer and of course the free re-nameable adjustment layer. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe and press the bell to be notified of more videos like this.